I am not parroting Nathan. As soon as I'm able to sign up on, I've got the Hangout. Let me see if I can join right now from my PC. I restarted it. Let me see if I can join. Hold on. I'm going to mute on my phone. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my PC now. Okay, so now I can share my screen and whatnot and show you. I'm not parroting Nathan. I'm trying to express what I understand, I see when I am looking at the footage that I've captured. Okay, so I'm going to try to say it this way, Tim. I believe that when we are looking across the surface of the land or the surface of the water at our level, we are, and when we're looking, and this is what I said to Jose on Friday's show with the footage that I presented there. That is that when I'm standing on the beach and I'm looking out at the Anacapa Island, I'm able to see only what I can see based on how the atmosphere is behaving. So if the bottom of the island is distorted or appearing as though it's floating above the horizon, if that's what I'm seeing, there's something in the air that's creating that, and I cannot see through it, as if it were a brick wall, because I can't see the actual landmass. And I went through the video presentation and I tried as best I could to do stills where I cut the image in half and said, okay, above the line is the physical boat. Below the line is not physical. It's a mirrored image in the atmosphere, and that is what I'm seeing. But what that means is the physical boat is actually behind that band of ether. It's just that I can't see it, but it's still there. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm going to try to pull up some of my stuff. Like I said, I just had to restart, so now I got to find the files again. So
we have really clear imagery, but I haven't heard really an explanation on. Now, the explanation is basically as you gain in altitude, you start to gain more of a viewing angle. This is Nathan, and really basically exclusive came from Nathan, okay, because we were showing him a ton of stuff that was being obstructed. I just want to know, number one, why is it not curvature? Number two, where is any evidence of this? I understand that you said it was your belief, but I'm just saying, why is it not curvature? And number two, is there any evidence that anybody says this anywhere else on Earth? That the viewing angle of things that are being obstructed near the ground for some reason become unobstructed. I really think this is kind of a test of mathematics and geometry, because if you're on a flat plane, there's no reason that hundreds of feet will be blocked. Now, let me tell you another thing, is I pulled up some of these things. This here is Jay Tolan. And Jay Tolan has some of the best spherical Earth evidence, curved Earth evidence on the internet, but flat Earthers try to say that it's flat Earth evidence. Now, he actually misidentified some of these mountain peaks, but good thing we have a friend named Ruhif here that actually went through and has the exact lat longe, the heights of these. So in the end, what we're looking at here is 123 miles away, Mount San Jacinto, at about 170 feet up near Malibu. What we're seeing is 6,000 plus feet of this mountain being obstructed. Now, again, here's the longest. You were on the panel, I think, when Morgile came on the other day, with the longest observation here. And a big elephant in the room I was kind of trying to bring up at the beginning of the show is that this mountain is bigger than this one, but it's further away. So when I take it into Walter Bisland's actual, it's a curve calculator, but it represents what Nathan wants you guys to do, or wants the globe to do, or whatever. And this is exactly what it comes out to be. It matches empirically. So if basically the moral of the story is, if you beg the question and you continue to test it with reality, and it continues to work, I think there's something to that. We can't test flat Earth. We can't say, well, 300 feet of the building is because of the viewing angle. Okay, well, that's just words, right? We actually have physical evidence that matches with the model, the spherical Earth model. You guys just say words: Aries diffraction, swells, waves, perspective, all kinds of stuff. So what I'm saying here is, when you come to Salt Lake City, not during the summer, like when it's super duper hot, you will have observations like this, and then you'll question yourself, well, are these more clear than the ones that I do near the ocean? And should I take the things that are more seriously, that are clear, than things that are like all kinds of miraging and stuff? So really at the end of it, I just, why isn't this curvature? Number one. And number two, I forgot the question, but I think you might know.
I don't know that I can think of the second question, but
okay.
So going
why isn't it curvature?
Yeah. So again, I'm going to fall back on the analogy for my Christian background. When someone would say to me, why isn't this passage about Jesus coming back? Okay, because that's your curvature question. Why isn't this curvature? Is the same question as my friend who says, okay, look at this passage here. See what this passage says? Why isn't this about the second coming? So what we have to do is, we have to not, I hate splitting infinitives. We have to not to okay, we can't isolate this one passage. We have to understand the basic foundation. So let's establish this. And the reason why I'm going to say, why isn't it curvature, is because the Earth isn't curved. That's why. Because the Earth's not curved. That's where we have to begin. We don't begin with our observation and then work backward and say it only works in curvature or X, Y, and Z. No, because when you say it only works in curvature. That's your point to begin with. Okay, so this isn't going to be a debate. I don't think that you want it to be. I don't want it to be. But that's where we have to begin, and that is with curvature itself. So
I really think that religion has nothing to do with the shape of the earth, and this is why the shape of the earth is empirical. We can observe it.
Tim, I think that even that statement shows that you're misunderstanding me. I was drawing an analogy. I
get the analogy, but it's kind of a long way to say something very simple. Is
okay,
all I'm saying.
Well, all right. Well, then I apologize for being long-winded.
Look, no, you're fine. I'm just saying that we don't have to tap into our logical like presuppositions and starting points, our axioms and stuff, to kind of like just do observations like you do observations like I do, but then like logically think about it. Things like I don't know if you care about the sky at all, but things like the two celestial points and the equatorial star trails over your head at your zenith on the equator are basically evidence for axial rotation. One of the things that you guys say every single day. We could go through the housekeeping right here and I'll tell you the answers to them. But that is evidence because it's actually matching in conjunction with latitude and longitude. So where's Polaris in your sky, the elevation of it? Well, what's your latitude? So it all works on a sphere.
Tim, trust me, dude. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. The thing that I would echo again, and if we can, after I make this statement, just move on to some footage that I have and then we can talk about that. But I would say, again, you're addressing either celestial rotation, axial rotation, the rotation of the southern hemisphere. Those are tertiary issues that are observations that need interpreted. Okay, to me, it's tertiary. It doesn't prove. It simply demonstrates something. It simply exemplifies something. It's simply an observation that needs to be interpreted. The thing that we have to stick to, and this is the reason why when I have discussions with people in person or online, I don't get into the tertiary. We have to establish the foundation. So I'm going to say it again, because for anybody out there, it might make sense to them, even though you might think it's long-winded. What you're saying to me is the same thing as someone who is a futurist as a Christian, who believes that Jesus is coming back in the future. They're going to say, this passage clearly proves that Jesus is coming back in the future. And I'm like, no, that you are beginning at the wrong starting point. The reason why you're saying that is because your starting point is wrong. Your major premise is wrong. So I don't care how well you argue your minor premise. I don't care how logical your minor premise is. I don't care how much math you have to prove your minor premise. It's false because your major premise is false. That's the issue.
You have the supposition that the major premise is false in the beginning. So you're coming in with an actual presupposition that the earth is flat into a scientific debate. Now, again, religion has nothing to do with empiricism with the earth. You can't prove to me that God exists, and I would never try to prove to you that God doesn't exist. So no, I'm not trying. No. I'm just saying you keep relating because of your starting points to people who believe in things, and you say, well, that's not right because of your starting point, your premise. Well, I'm saying your premise is wrong. You don't understand how the stars, the sun, the moon are not tertiary to this whole debate. Actually, they're very, very, if you understand them, you'll understand why the spherical earth model works. So when it comes to stellarium, when it comes to time of day, when it comes to the sun, moon, and stars, the equinox working, rising east, setting due west for everyone on the earth, these things work with the spherical earth model. Okay. And if you want to go and say that they're tertiary or whatever, that's fine. But to make a logical deduction from all of the evidence is what I've done. And if you want to say that these things, we don't know the composition or that's tertiary or whatever you want to try to stick your head in sand, that's fine, man. But this all has to do with the shape of the earth.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Can I screen share?
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to screen share. Here we go.
Sure. But I mean, you have nothing to say about how the stars, sun, and moon.
I don't think you and I are going to get anywhere in arguing our presuppositions. I really don't.
It's not presuppositions. Listen, your God made the universe for us. Okay, so for you to stick your head in sand and not look up, I think it's a damn shame to His creation. I'm just telling you.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the Chesapeake Bay, which is predominantly freshwater. I couldn't tell you how much would be saline or not, but it's when you go down, you can smell the fresh water. And I was out. This is November 29th. Okay, and I'm waiting for the sunrise. So I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to see as I'm shooting this. But once I zoom in, we can see these birds that I can't see with my naked eye. So I'm just going to play it. I don't know what I had it queued up before, but I had to restart. So I'm just going to go as far as I can. All right, here we go. All right. So I'm going to zoom in. And all of a sudden, I see these little dots on the surface. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to stop right here, okay, because you see my cursor? All right. That bird is on water. Okay. This bird right below it is in the foreground. The bird.
I'm just wondering, as a side note, do all Christians say water like Kent Hovind?
Like what? Oh, I don't even know. I don't listen to Kent.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay. So wooder. If I were to say it like the Marylanders, it would be wooder. All right. So the bird in the foreground right here is level with the bird in the background. Now, the bird in the background is not visually on the same surface as the bird in the foreground. You've got a let's say a salmon colored hue of the water here because of the sunrise coming up. But here you've got a gray hue. And we don't know the distance between these two birds. but those two birds are level with each other. And yet this bird looks like it's floating on air. Okay. Now, what we're going to see in a couple of seconds above the bird in the background is birds going in and out of the band of ether, the ether band. And when we see them disappear, I'm going to interpret that as them landing on the same level water as this bird and this bird. But we can't.
So I need to clarify. So when you say ether, are you talking about the 19th century fictitious force, the
No,
luminiferous ether?
I'm talking about the air. Okay. So again, the Greek word ether means air. That's all I'm talking about. Because I'm not going to call it atmosphere because we don't live on a sphere. So I'm calling it the ether band. The reason why I'm calling it the ether band will become apparent when and if I'm able to get to another clip after this. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is push play, and we'll see the phenomenon of the birds in the background.